Hey, what is up guys? Welcome back to the channel. This is a new series that I want to start. I'm not sure if I want to upload it on Fridays or Sundays, but basically I just want to go through and break down what I've been playing throughout the week. Also, real quick, check out this shirt. Pretty sick, right? It's my merch. Link in the description. But anyways, thankfully, I'm lucky enough to do YouTube full-time, so in my off time when I'm not making YouTube videos for you guys, I am gaming the days away. I have a massive backlog, as many gamers do, especially ones that are into single-player games. So I've been going through, and I try to beat anywhere from like 10 to 20 games per month. I'm keeping a good average of like 13 to 14 games. I beat a game every 2 to 3 days, it seems, just because that's like the average length of the games that I play. You know, each game's roughly anywhere between like 6 and 15 hours, so I knock them out about 2 or 3 days. So far for this year, I am at 94 games, and I actually just beat one this morning, about to hop into another one later. Not sure which yet. That's the hardest part for me. As soon as I finish a game, I'm looking at my backlog, I'm like, oh my god, I just beat an RPG, but there's another RPG I want to play, but I don't want to get burned out on RPG, so maybe I'll go with an action-adventure game, but wait, this game just had action-adventure elements. Maybe I'll play a platformer. Wait a minute, I don't want to play that. It is just a huge toss-up, but one thing that's helped me get through my backlog is always switching up the genres, you know, like bouncing from RPG to platformer to racing game, just so I don't get burnt out on a certain thing, and it always keeps everything really unique, because I can tell you right now, if I was just playing like shooter, like single player to single player campaign, and they all felt like the same copy-paste thing, I probably would have got burnt out by now. But thank God I am a gamer with a huge variety of things. I'm playing games all the way back from the NES up to now with, like, you know, the games releasing today. But anyway, let's go over the games that I've been playing this week. So, in my off time when I'm not playing like through a game that I'm trying to beat, you know, get to the credits, whatever, I'm usually playing like Call of Duty. So of course this week I've been playing a lot of Call of Duty in between the times that I'm, you know, not playing through a game. I like to do that. Once I beat a game, I'll hop into like Call of Duty, play for a couple hours, maybe take that whole day just to cod it out, and then the next day go back into the next adventure. The first game I actually beat this week was Zuma's Revenge. I know it's a puzzle game. It's not exactly what you think of when you think of like beating a game, you know. Usually you think of going through like a big narrative experience, but like I said, I'm into a lot of really weird things, and puzzle games just happen to be one of them. It was a pretty short game too, knocked it out in about 2-3 hours. Actually ended up making a video on it a couple nights back if you guys want to go check that out. And then the next game that I beat was WALL-E. Yes, the tie-in movie game, and I played the PS2 version. That game came out at the time when there was like multiple versions of each game being made. The PS2 version was different from the PS3 version, and the PS3 version was different from the DS version. Like, gaming was crazy back then. Thank God we don't deal with that nowadays. After playing that game though, I'm actually kind of going through a bit of a WALL-E phase still. I ended up changing my phone wallpaper to WALL-E. As soon as I beat the game, I went through 100%ed it, and then I ended up watching the movie the next morning. Like, I'm still in my WALL-E phase. Right now, I can say, out of all the movies I've ever seen, WALL-E is my absolute favorite. I had like a whole discussion on it in my video a couple nights ago when I was ranking all the Pixar films on why I love WALL-E so much. So if you want to know more about why I love the movie as much as I do, you can go check that video out. I give a whole explanation there. But yeah, literally my favorite movie of all time, and probably one of my favorite movie tie-in games, if not my favorite. Next up, the thorn in my side, the pain in my ass, the thing that nearly gave me a hernia from how much I was screaming and straining every time I died, GTA 3 Definitive Edition. I remember trying to beat the original GTA 3 a couple years ago. Couldn't do it. I got way too frustrated. Didn't help I was playing on mobile, so yeah, playing GTA on mobile isn't exactly the most ideal way to do it. I will say, I played the definitive edition of GTA San Andreas when that first launched back in November, and that was a nightmare to say the very least. I played Vice City just 2 or 3 months ago. That was a lot better, and playing GTA 3 now, I can say they definitely cleaned up the definitive edition if you were looking into it, but, you know, kind of held off just because of how bad of a state it was in at launch. That was like almost Cyberpunk levels of bad. It's good now. 7-8 months later, yeah, it's finally somewhat playable. There's still some bugs and bizarre things. Like, there was this point in the one SAN mission towards the end of GTA 3 where when I was on the boat trying to blow up the airplane, I ended up dying. I failed. I actually failed a lot. But every time I would go back, there was a thing of Claude T-posing out in the ocean. I wish I would have got a screenshot of it. So I could have showed you guys. But even though I was playing as Claude driving the boat, there was another Claude model just sitting there, just it was so weird. I'm also glad that the definitive edition has... That is such a tongue twister. I'm glad that it has checkpoints, though. It made it a lot better than having to die, go to the hospital, go back to the mission start, drive all the way back. Now it cuts out the middleman of having to die and go back. Now you just start... Unfortunately, there's never checkpoints in the middle of missions. I failed each mission after the halfway point of the game. The first half of the game is really short and easy, but after that it gets like kind of brutal at points. there was like no checkpoints. I had to try each mission at least once, twice, maybe 20 times. Like especially that SAM mission I was talking about took me like almost 2 hours to beat. That was a pain in my ass. But yeah, unfortunately, there's no checkpoints throughout the missions. I think only San Andreas might have that in a couple of missions where it actually checkpoints you for the really long ones. Besides that, it was a fun game all in all. It was just way too hard for me to say that I would ever actually want to go back unless they would do like a whole remake of it. Not just a remaster with the definitive edition, but like a whole remake, redoing it. Maybe give me a difficulty slider. I don't know. It was just, it's not the kind of difficult where it's actually like challenging and fun. And when you beat it, you're like, yes, I just overcame something like awesome. I'm a pro gamer. It's more like, dude, that is the most bullshit design ever. Like, who designed that? Speaking of arbitrarily difficult games, this morning I just beat Time Splitters 2. It was fun, but it was a little brutal at points. But I must say, after playing through GTA, after beating GTA 3, I went right into this game. So I was already accustomed to that early 2000s level design arbitrary bullshit. So it actually made this game really enjoyable because my mind was already in that mode, and since that's like the type of games that I grew up with anyway as a child, it actually wasn't that bad. I forgot how hard games used to be, especially in my youth. There was a lot of games that I couldn't beat, and now I see why. Even 12, 15, like however many years later, it's still pretty hard. I'm so glad I got to pick this game up. Xbox had a sale going where they had Time Splitters 2 and Time Splitters Future Perfect on sale from, you know, the original Xbox version for like $2.50 a piece. I picked them both up, $5 total. Because I used to play the first Time Splitters on PlayStation 2 like, oh god, maybe I played it like 12 years ago, maybe? It's crazy how intuitive games are, though, because as soon as I turned it back on, it just all came back to me. I was like, yep, I already know what I'm doing. So that might have helped the fact that I had experience with the series before. You know, when I hopped right into the second one, I was like, all right, let's go, I got this. One thing I would say, though, again, it's one of those older games, so if you guys would check out the Time Splitter series, my recommendation, if you're not used to really, like, hard bullshit games that force you to master the levels before you can beat them, and it's also one of those games, there's no waypoints. You need to explore the environment and find everything out, solve all the objectives on your own. No waypoint markers, no hints. Figure it out. So what I would say is definitely play this game on easy if you're more of a newer gamer and you don't feel like dealing with all the bullshit and tearing your hair out. Play it on easy, and if you feel like it's too easy or you really enjoy the game and want to go through it again, then go back on normal. I never played Future Perfect. I can't speak for how that one is. I've heard that one's a bit easier, though, so you should be fine just playing through it on normal. It sounds like more of a normal modern shooter campaign, but I'm really excited to hop into that one next, and that'll probably be featured on the next episode of this next week. Also, it didn't necessarily happen this past week, but I just beat the Mass Effect trilogy like a day off from being a week ago, like 8 days ago. I finally beat the whole trilogy, beat Mass Effect 3 and all that, and I won't spoil it in this video, but all I gotta say is for the people that hated on Mass Effect 3's ending, I can see why. There was only one ending that I would have been fine with getting, but the problem is I didn't do enough side quests to have like my total military strength be high enough for me to have a choice. Which is really stupid that they make you do that arbitrary crap where you have to do a bunch of side quests in order to build up your TMS so then you can have a choice in the ending. And if you didn't have it high enough, if you just stuck to the main quest, too bad. Your ending is determined based on what ending you chose in Mass Effect 2. It was so stupid. There was one ending I really wanted to get, but instead I had to go with an ending called Refusal because I was not about to go with the other one. But anyways, that's it, you know, just me being nerdy, going on and on about games. If you guys have any games that you've been playing lately or any games you're playing through, let me know down in the comments. I'd totally love to hear about it. And usually from you guys, I end up getting to hear about other games I never would have heard about before, so I love when you guys tell me about whatever you're playing down in the comments. But anyways, as always, a shout out to the Patrons, Fav Grandma, and Lil Bootytap. Hopefully you guys enjoyed, and hopefully I'll see you guys back here tomorrow at 7. Thank you for watching. I love you all. Like I said, this will probably go up on Sundays. If that doesn't, if it seems like it would work better for Fridays, I'll start doing these on Fridays. But yeah, it's Sunday, so have an amazing week. Anybody that's in school or whatever, I know you guys are on summer break, but for any adults that are watching, you know, going back to work tomorrow, good luck, have a good week, keep your head up. Love you all, stay beautiful, peace.